in the pictures all the time because it's the secret. It's not a secret of Kemet. It is the secret of Kemet. It is imparted into every religious structure that is and has been going for the last 10,000 years. But the thing about it is, when priestcraft came into it, we had already lost the secret as a people. It was held by certain priesthood. Because what happened was, as Africa became drier and drier and drier, the mushrooms started to become scarcer and scarcer and scarcer. Whereas we would take the mushrooms once or twice a week as it became drier and drier, because mushrooms come after the big rains. They come after thunderstorms. They used to think they called them thunderstorms, just like Kabiesi Bakoso Shango, the god of thunder. It's the same as Thor and the same as the others, but he has what's called thunderstorms. The mushrooms come up after thunderstorms, after rains. But as the continent became drier and drier, especially the Sahara, because if you turn to the third page, number 10, the Tassili Plateau in the Sahara, this is showing when the Sahara was a grassland and the cattle were there. And it was grassland all the way up to almost the Roman period, because the Romans said that the Sahara was the breadbasket of Rome. So since Roman times, 2,000 years, the Sahara has become a desert in that time, but it became drier and drier and drier, and the mushrooms dried up. So when the mushrooms started drying up, everybody couldn't take them any longer. And mushrooms are best utilized in the type of environments that are hunting-gathering environments, because agriculture, which was invented by women, agriculture gives in other words, at the end of the night, if you've been doing a psychedelic trip all night, you can't get up in the morning to be able to hold the weeds out between the potatoes and the corn. So everybody couldn't have it all the time because it became scarcer and scarcer. So what we said was, okay, Bobby and Al, we all can't take the mushroom no more. So what y'all do is y'all take the mushroom and y'all tell us what the mushroom said, what God said. Because up until that time, the mystery in God was the mushroom. It became an agricultural God after agriculture came. When women said, you know something? That's where we were last year, right? They said, yeah, we were here last year. It's food growing out the ground there. They said, ain't that when we took all that, after we got through eating the trash and the tomatoes and carrots and stuff and threw it all over there in the pile, you know, it's sprouting up over there. Something about putting food in the ground gets you food. So they didn't have to then travel around and get food seasonally, and as it comes, they found out that they could take food and plant it in the ground and it would give you food. That was a big leap, because that started the city-state. It started priestcraft. It started laws. It started all these different things agriculture did, because people became sedentary. They weren't moving around. Agriculture is a very efficient way of producing food, which means you have surplus. Once you have surplus, you have what? Have and have-nots. You got a band of folks who've been walking around, they haven't discovered agriculture. They ain't ate in 4 days because the roots, you know, they got the roots is low and we ain't caught up with no different type of food to eat. And all of a sudden we walk past somebody got a big granary with the grain full, and they done found out that, you know, you ain't got to sneak up on the cattle. That if you put a fence around the cattle, you can just walk out there and get the cattle when you want to. And something else, that if you put 2 cattle in there, one with the horn, one without the horn, you put them in there, doggone it, and 6 to 8 months, there's going to be another cow in there. So what this did was produce have and have-nots. When you have and have-nots, The have-nots try to sometimes take what the haves had. So the haves say, well, shoot, they keep coming in, taking our grain, taking our cows. Let's put a fence around the whole thing. And that was the start of the downfall. The priesthoods came from that. Al and Bobby then were the ones who took the mushroom and came back and told us what the mushroom said. And in doing that, they said, well, if we taking the mushroom all the time, you know, we ain't gonna be able to work. You know, so y'all gonna have to bring us rice and beans and, you know, quarter pounder with cheese, tofu, all that kind of stuff. Y'all bring us that. And we'll just do the mushroom stuff. But Bobby got with Al and said, you know, this is a good deal. We ain't got to work. You know, what we're going to do is now, we're going to make, since we eat a lot of corn, we're going to make Ansar the corn god, and we're going to tell him what the corn god said. And the first thing they come out and say, what the corn god said last night, that y'all got to up y'all production on corn to me and Bobby. You know, because, you know, the guys need food too now. You know, you got to bring 2 cows, you got to bring some flowers, bring some wine, you know, all this kind of stuff, bring it. And the stuff, and that's how the great temples were built. And the religion started, because there wasn't no religion before then. It was direct experience with the mystery. And that's what we lack. That's what we've been lacking for 10,000 years. Direct contact with the mystery. Not out no book from Budge, not out no book from Amos Wilson, not out no book from nobody. But you, yourself, going into the mystery. And I'm talking about an experience. I'm not talking about something that comes from what somebody else has done. I'm talking about what you yourself do. What nobody can do with you. You got to go into it yourself. And you look the mystery and the darkness in the eye. And it is an experience that makes us human. It's like having sex or having children or taking responsibility for oneself. It is part of our life. Without the psychedelic dynamic, we are not fully human, because that is what differentiates us. Being able to, they were talking about in there the pyramids and how they constructed them and things like that. The mushroom taught them how to construct the pyramid and why they construct the pyramid. It's just like an artist. The greatest artists they're not painters, they don't paint. The greatest artists have vision. They have the ability to take a blank canvas and project from their mind to the canvas, so that all they have to do is trace by the numbers, because the picture's already there. All they have to do is fill in the color, because they have vision. And that's what the mushroom does. It gives the vision. Now let's go to the first page here right quick. If you look at number two here, you see the body of Ansar, Wasir, Osiris, whatever you want to call it. It's in the blue. If you look at this part, you can see the mushroom in its body. I didn't darken this in, but you'll even see the dark portion down here. You'll see the mushroom glyph, which in here you see the stalk of the mushroom here, and the mushroom cap is there. You see the stalk of the mushroom. His arms and shoulders is the mushroom itself. This is the stalk, and this is the cap. Stalk, cap. Yeah, that's the cap of the mushroom, and this is the stalk right here. And it is in the blue color. The psilocybin convinced this mushroom turns blue. It's called a blue mushroom. You have two mushrooms that are paramount. You have the blue mushroom and the red mushroom. The red mushroom is a dark death mushroom. This is the star mushroom. This one deals with the stars, it deals with galaxies, it deals with new technologies, it deals with ancient temples, it deals with ruins of lost civilizations. The red mushroom is a death mushroom. It stews red. That's the whole Tepish thing with Dracula and stuff like that. Talk about drinking the blood to get the power of Dracula. It's not that Dracula was drinking the blood. He was drinking the blood of the red mushroom, which is a death mushroom, which gave him his spiritual power to to be able to control and take power over people. But that's a different lecture. This one, they call it the door to eternity. It is the arch of which all spiritual knowledge is built. If you go to your Catholic church and look at the door, go down to the Catholic church or over the big one. This is the piece in the middle of the door. This is the archway, and you go through the doors of perception to go into the womb of the cathedral. It's the same thing with the ancient Kemetic temple. The arch was made because it's symbolizing the psilocybin cubensis mushroom. If you look at once or twice a week as it became drier and drier, because mushrooms come after the big rains. They come after thunderstorms. They used to think they called them thunderstorms, just like Kabiesi Obakoso Shango, the god of thunder. It's the same as Thor and the same as the others, but he has what's called thunderstorms. The mushrooms come up after thunderstorms, after rains. But it's in the pictures all the time, because it's the secret. It's not a secret of Kemet. It is the secret of Kemet. It is imparted into every religious structure that is and has been going for the last 10,000 years. But the thing about it is, we're up to almost the Roman period, because the Romans said that the Sahara was the breadbasket of Rome. So since Roman times, 2,000 years, the Sahara has become a desert in that time, but it became drier and drier and drier, and the mushrooms dried up. So when the mushrooms started drying up, everybody couldn't take them any longer. And mushrooms are best as the continent became drier and drier, especially the Sahara. Because if you turn to the third page, number 10, the Tassili Plateau in the Sahara, this is showing when the Sahara was a grassland and the cattle were there. And it was grassland all the way up. When priestcraft came into it, we had already lost the secret as a people. It was held by certain priesthood, because what happened was, as Africa became drier and drier and drier, the mushrooms started to become scarcer and scarcer and scarcer. Whereas we would take the mushrooms